Hey, what's up guys? This is Nick at BarBend.com. Today, I'm going to be trying out Optimum Nutrition's gold standard 100% casein protein powder. Optimum Nutrition is a supplement company based in Aurora, Illinois, and they are enormously influential in the industry. You probably already know them for their gold standard whey protein powder, which I believe is the most popular, if not one of the most popular protein powders on the market. This casein is also one of the most popular caseins. It's currently the most reviewed on Amazon.com. Today I wanted to try out the banana cream flavor, and while it is true that a lot of people can make casein into casein shakes when you mix a scoop with about 12 ounces of fluid, it makes it a pretty thick shake, and in my experience, people often prefer making casein into protein pudding. So I'm gonna mix 1 scoop of protein powder with 1.5 scoops of fluid and see how that tastes. I wound up using 2 scoops, by the way. I wanted more pudding. I should first point out that it is pretty tough to come up with a good artificially flavored banana flavor. It's like one of the hardest flavors to reproduce. So this does taste like banana candy. I wouldn't really say it tastes like banana, but it tastes sort of like, yeah, definitely banana flavored taffy or a gum or something like that. If that's the flavor you're into, a flavor that's a little bit reminiscent of Fruit Loops, then you'll probably like this. In my experience, Optimum Nutrition, their banana flavor isn't amazing. I have also tried their cookies and cream flavor of this casein, which wasn't great. It tasted more like coffee, but I think the vanilla and the chocolate are honestly their best flavors. But again, if you like banana candy, you'll be happy with this. Okay, so let's take a quick look at the nutrition label. So 1 scoop of this contains 120 calories, and that you're gonna get 24 grams of protein, 3 grams of carbohydrates with 1 gram of fiber and 1 gram of sugar, and 1 gram of fat with 0.5 gram of saturated fat. So macronutrients wise, that's very close to what you get in a whey protein powder. It's very similar to gold standard whey protein powder as well. On the micronutrient side, there's not a ton to talk about. There's 8% of the recommended daily intake of sodium here. There's no vitamin A, vitamin C, or iron. Normally in wheys, you might get a little bit of iron. However, there is 50% of the recommended daily intake of calcium. So this is a remarkably good source of calcium. There's also 5% of your daily cholesterol. When you're comparing that to gold standard whey, that is about half the amount of cholesterol, but it's a tiny bit higher in sodium. As far as the ingredients go, the first ingredient is Micellar casein, which actually isn't always the case with casein protein powders. Oftentimes the first ingredient is milk protein, the majority of which is casein, but in this product, the only protein is Micellar casein. Then there's some natural and artificial flavors. There's some polydextrose. There's a blend of gums, so cellulose, xanthan, and carrageenan. There's some soy lecithin. There's some salt, some malic acid. That is a natural flavoring, often comes from apples. It's like a tiny bit like citrusy, a little bit. There's some acesulfame, potassium, and sucralose. That's 2 artificial sweeteners. There's some artificial coloring as well. And finally, there is aminogen, which is a blend of digestive enzymes, which could potentially help to improve the nutrient uptake. As far as the price goes, this tub here, normally you're looking at between $28 and $35 for a tub of this. That price can change, but that's about the range you're looking at. This tub has 27 servings in it, so at the end of the day, you're looking at about between $1 and $1.20 per serving, or roughly 5 cents per gram of protein. That is a bit more expensive than whey, which is to be expected because like whey is often considered a waste byproduct, whereas casein can be used to make cheese, so casein in general is just a bit more expensive than whey. But compared to other casein products on the market, this is still a little bit pricey. It's like, again, it's about like between 4.8 and 5 cents per gram of protein. Some of the big name competitors I looked at, they're closer to 4.3 cents per gram of protein. That said, not all of the competitors have Micellar casein as the sole source of protein. Plus this contains aminogen, that blend of digestive enzymes, so you may find that price worth it. Here's what I like about this product. Number 1, the first ingredient is Micellar casein. As I mentioned, not all the casein protein powders on the market have that as the first ingredient, which is why it was a little bit more expensive, I think. Relatively low in sodium, pretty low in cholesterol, especially when compared to other whey protein powders. Also, I was a really big fan of the fact this contains aminogen, which again is that blend of digestive enzymes. I can't be very definitive about this. This isn't 100% agreed upon in scientific circles. Generally speaking, the idea is that aminogen, the enzymes in that blend, can potentially help to improve nutrient uptake and reduce indigestion and stuff like that. So I'm always a fan when I see digestive enzymes in the ingredients list of a protein powder. Now, there are a few things that you might not be quite so crazy about with this product. I mean, it does depend on your own taste and preferences, but there are some things that some people try and stay clear of here. There are 3 types of gum, and in some folks that can cause digestive upset, although I think the aminogen could potentially reduce the likelihood of that happening. On that note, there's also soy. I'm not saying soy is bad, but there are some people who do try to avoid it, and there are plenty of other casein products that don't contain soy, but this has some soy lecithin. There are also artificial flavors and colors and sweeteners, and it has 2 artificial sweeteners, sucralose and acesulfame potassium. So some people try to avoid those as well in their diet. Finally, I want to mention that it doesn't have all that much nutrition. I mean, it does have a good 50% of your calcium in a scoop, which is pretty impressive, although very common in casein protein powders. But it's not uncommon for competitors to have like a bit of iron or maybe some vitamin A or some other nutrients added into it. This just has calcium as in your micronutrients besides the sodium. So yeah, it's not the most nutritious casein product on the market. All right, so those are my thoughts on Optimum Nutrition's gold standard casein protein powder. For the full written review, where I get a little bit more nitty gritty in the science behind this product, make sure you Google the full review, just BarBend plus Optimum Nutrition Casein.